Have you ever heard of sexomnia?
To put it bluntly, no.
I hadn't either until I watched this. This is Stalked by My Doctor, a sleepwalker's nightmare. I'm Jay Harangue and I've wasted hours of my life watching terrible films.
You should subscribe.
It's been a while, so let's do a quick recap of what's happened so far.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
In the original Stalked by My Doctor, famous heart surgeon Dr Beck fell in love with his teenage patient Sophie and started stalking her. He ended up faking her death and kidnapping her, but she escaped. In Stalked by My Doctor The Return, while hiding in Mexico under a new identity, he met a woman and her teenage daughter. He moved back to the US with them and married the mum so he could start shagging the daughter. But that didn't work out. A few years later, in Stalked by My Doctor Patient's Revenge, we found out that despite trying to kill his wife and actually killing her brother, Dr Beck had somehow got away with all this. And he started a job as a college professor at Whitendale University. But Sophie from the first film enrolled in the college to ruin his life. She managed to get him sacked and he got angry and tried to kill people again. So now, Dr Beck is once again on the run from the police and working as a busboy in this roadside diner under the name Carl.
That is all.
Right, so first we meet Michelle and she's got a problem. She has sexomnia, which makes her sleepwalk and try it on with everyone. Tonight there's a wedding going on at the house next door, so sleeping Michelle goes over there and kisses the groom.
What? You bitch!
The next morning, that incident has made the news, so Michelle's boss tells her to take a break from work and see a doctor about her problem. Meanwhile, at the roadside diner, Dr Beck is serving these girls breakfast. And what's this? They start making out with him right there. Oh no, it's just his fantasy.
Hey! What is wrong with you? What kind of an idiot is bussing tables at your age anyway?
Hang on, it looks like this angry customer is a doctor who's starting a new job, so this presents an opportunity.
What's up, Doc?
Beck finds out that this guy's name is Dr Tanner, and he has no wife, no family, and no social media.
Perfect.
By the way, the actor who plays Dr Tanner is Rick from Just One of the Guys.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Shit, that makes me feel old. Anyway, Beck kills him. At an unspecified time later, we see him show up to Dr Tanner's new job.
You're Mason Tanner?
I am.
But oh no, looks like this guy is suspicious. Beck tries to get away, but security chase him into this room. Oh right, he's imagined that too. And everything's fine.
Good.
That's something that started happening, by the way. Much like with the scene with the girls in the diner, Beck is always imagining things happening that aren't actually happening. He even imagines this other version of himself, who wears a Hawaiian shirt, drinks cocktails, and winds him up. Anyway, everyone at this hospital is so pleased to have Dr. Tanner join them, they've thrown him a welcome party. By the way, the only other person you need to know about in this hospital is this woman, Pam. The party is cut short, as his first patient is already here. He's like, oh, okay, what's her issue?
Sexomnia.
Sexomnia. Wow.
And oh look, it's Michelle. That's right, he works at the New Mexico Sleep Study Clinic. So yeah, she's gonna sleep here while he watches from the observation room.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yep. When he gets back to his office, he Googles her, and he's about to start knocking one out when...
Finally, someone who's old enough to drive.
Yes, it's Hawaiian Beck. They start arguing and Pam overhears. She opens the door and asks what's going on. He's like, oh, it's okay, I was talking to myself.
Brilliant minds work in strange ways.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. At an unspecified time later, Michelle is in for her overnight sleep study. Beck tells this guy Tyler that he can go home so that he can be alone with Michelle.
My lovely Michelle, just me and you.
And Michelle immediately starts sleepwalking and undoing buttons.
All right.
Although we don't see Dr. Beck knocking one out behind the two-way mirror, it's certainly implied. He decides to go in there and take advantage, but oh no, Pam has ruined everything. And by the time he gets rid of her, Michelle has gone back to bed.
Oh, man.
The next day, when they're analysing the footage, Michelle gets a call from her niece Katie, who also has sleep issues. Apparently, she's left college in LA and shown up at Michelle's house. Dr. Beck has seen a photo of Katie come up on Michelle's phone, and he likes what he sees. Michelle's a bit too old for him now anyway.
You're absolutely right.
So he follows her home. Oh right, he's gone into their backyard and is listening to their conversation through the window.
Wow.
Katie's condition is somewhat different to Michelle's.
When I sleepwalk, I'm highly suggestible. People can make me do things just by asking.
Well, this sounds promising.
And then I started dating Leo. His roommate Dean found out about my problem. A few nights ago, Leo came looking for me and found me having sex with Dean.
Oh, no.
Leo kicked me out.
And she's single. Perfect. So Beck goes back to his car and calls Michelle. He tells her A, that he's going to drop off some sedatives for her to take, and B, that he wants her to come in for another sleep study tomorrow night. So later that night, when Michelle's taken her sedative, Beck sneaks into her house and goes into Katie's bedroom. Then Hawaiian Beck appears and they start arguing.
Enough! Don't say another word.
Okie dokie.
Katie has risen, so let's do a test.
Tell me you love me.
I love you.
Oh good, it works. But someone's been watching from outside, so Beck leaves the house. The next morning at the sleep clinic, he has a new patient, Nicky Bismar. Nicky tells Beck that he has trouble sleeping because he has vivid dreams about younger women.
You have those urges too, Doc? Just like last night.
Oh dear, is this the guy who was watching him in Katie's room?
Maybe.
Maybe not.
That night when Michelle is in for another sleep study, Beck leaves and goes over to her house. He sees Katie leaving and follows her to this diner, where he accidentally bumps into her. He manages to get her to join him for dinner and tells her where he works. And she's like, oh right, my Aunt Michelle's a patient there. And he's like, I can't believe this. I'm her doctor.
That's weird.
Isn't it?
Yes.
He tells Katie that Michelle told him all about her and offers to treat her for free. After dinner, her car won't start, so Beck offers her a ride home. Back at the sleep clinic, Michelle is out of bed. She starts banging aggressively on the glass, so Pam goes into the room to try and wake her up. But oh no!
Just stop. You need to stop.
Michelle, don't.
Oh my God. Michelle. Michelle.
Meanwhile, Dr. Beck is dropping Katie at home.
When we were having dinner, I felt like we had a connection.
What?
Yeah, just another fantasy, sadly. In real life, Katie's boyfriend Leo is there. He's wearing a rubbish hat and asks Katie to forgive him for dumping her, and she does. Beck's been sat in his car watching all this unfold, and now he needs a shit. So he asks Katie if he can use the bathroom before he goes home. He sees Katie and Leo kissing from upstairs, and he's livid. The next morning, after he's shown Michelle video footage of her assaulting Pam, he tells her he ran into her niece last night. She's like, that's a bit of a strange coincidence.
Speak of the devil, Katie.
Michelle starts to think this is a bit weird, and oh no, Leo has turned up, and he's got a question for Dr. Beck.
Have I ever seen you on TV before?
No, I don't think so.
He probably has, a few years ago when he was the subject of a nationwide manhunt.
I just have one of those faces, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beck asks to speak to the girls alone and tells them not to let Leo stay at their house, because it's not good for their treatment.
Oh, I see.
So that night, Leo's off to a motel. Beck uses this opportunity to sneak back into the house.
Obviously.
He tells sleeping Katie to text Leo and get him to meet her at this parking lot. And here he comes. And here's Katie. Not sure how she's still asleep, but whatever, that's what's happening.
Hey, were you okay?
You don't want to wake.
So he's dead. Just in case you're wondering, yes, Katie slept through all of that too.
Odd. Very odd.
The next day, when the police show up to tell her they found his body, she's totally shocked.
The police say, you fell.
She doesn't even remember texting him.
I need help. Will you help me?
Of course I will.
Michelle knows that something's not right here. She tells Beck that none of this makes sense, and he's like, yeah, I know. We need to get her in for a sleep study tonight. When he gets back to his office, Nicky Bismar is there, and he tells Dr. Beck that last night he gave a girl a Severus snake.
Oh, dear.
Obviously, he needs to report this immediately, because he's such a by-the-book doctor. So he runs out and he's like, Pam, there's a snaper in my office. But when Pam goes in, there's nobody there. Pam's like, while you're here, we need to have a conversation about Michelle.
She feels there's something inappropriate going on.
Michelle is not well.
Pam's not having this. In fact, she suspects there's something even more sinister going on. So she calls Dr. Tanner's previous employer and asks them to send a photo of him.
I'll send over what I can find.
Thank you, Doctor.
Later, while Katie is in for a sleep study, Dr. Tanner's previous employer has called Pam back to tell her that he's found a photo of Dr. Tanner and he's emailing it to her now. But oh no, Dr. Beck has overheard them talking. Then he spikes Michelle's coffee so he can go into Katie's room and start kissing her. Then he sends Pam suggestive messages from Michelle's phone and puts the murder weapon in Michelle's hands. So in the morning, Michelle is arrested. Beck insists that Katie moves in with him while her aunt is in custody, and she agrees. Cut to Michelle, who's being held at a hospital for the criminally insane, and somehow Dr. Beck has been made her primary care physician. She's like, I know it was you who killed Pam, and he's like, whatever, Michelle, no one's going to believe that. Katie and I are going to be together now, and there's nothing you can do about it.
You're insane.
I'll be back to start your electric shock therapy in the morning. Bye. It gets worse for Michelle. 2 of the orderlies at this institution have found out she has sexomnia and plan to take full advantage. So later that night, they go into a room with a few beers and wait for her to start sleepwalking.
Hi, boys. Untie me first.
You get sloppy deuces. What do I get second? Oh. Oh, yeah, do that.
So Michelle escapes the hospital. Back at Beck's house, Katie has arrived, and Dr. Beck has prepared dinner. Even though he's laid candles out from her from the front door to the dining room, Katie is shocked to find out that he wants to shag her.
Excuse me?
Then Hawaiian Beck appears and real Beck starts shouting at him.
What's wrong with you?
Katie, don't go.
But oh no, he's accidentally pushed her down this huge flight of stairs. Michelle has broken into the sleep clinic to get his address, so she's on her way to his house. But first to arrive is Nicky Bismar. Turns out he's imaginary too. Yeah, Nicky Bismar is an anagram of my sick brain.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
When Michelle arrives, she sees Dr. Beck swinging a poker through the window, so she grabs a shovel. She swings it at his head, but he ducks. Then sleeping Katie distracts her. Beck then tells sleeping Katie to kill Michelle, and she's about to do it. But then Michelle's like, no, Katie, please don't. And Katie wakes up and turns the knife on Beck. So Michelle knocks him out with the shovel. The police arrive and Dr. Beck is arrested and taken to the hospital Michelle was at. And he's getting shock therapy from this orderly, who somehow hasn't been fired. And that's the end of the film. So until next time, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. And please consider joining my Patreon. There's a link in the description. Thank you.